Well, you can already tell how big my ego is because I made that little PowerPoint presentation for me right up there. You can see Erin G, Christ follower. It's very large. Just like my ego was. Easing God out is ego. My name is Erin, and I am an alcoholic, addict, codependent, and Christ follower. My sobriety date is 10/19/2006. I am a Minnesota Adult and Teen Challenge alumni. Woo! I was born in New York in 1970. I don't remember much about my childhood. I do remember a lot about my brother Joe, who was 1 year older than me. We would play together all the time. We were very close. I remember my mom sharing stories with me. She told me that when I first went to school, I would get off the bus and be really upset. She thought I hated school, and she went in to talk to the teachers. They said Erin loves school. She's always having fun. I guess that was the beginning of the manipulation I would continue to do for many years. I don't remember this story at all, but my mom also told me that she had another man over while my dad was out of town. I wasn't supposed to tell, but I said to my father, I know something you don't know, and I revealed that Mom had a man over that showed us magic tricks. My mom was really mad at me. Maybe that's when I started learning that lying might be a better choice. My mom was very unhappy in her marriage. This is not hearsay, she told me so. Back then, women often married just to get out of the house. My mom's childhood was not good. Her father died when she was little, and my grandmother married an alcoholic who hit the kids that weren't his. When I was 6, we moved to Illinois for my dad's work transfer. I think my mom's drinking started toward the end of her marriage to my dad. She was starting dating our neighbor Russ, and my dad started dating Russ's wife, Carol. Is this how the typical household works? My parents divorced at age 9. I don't remember being upset at all. My dad traveled for work, so I don't recall him being around a lot anyway. I do remember that he was always whistling, and that made me think of whistling as happiness. To this day, I love whistling because I find it very soothing, and it's very hard to be an angry whistler. My mom is now drinking more and more, and is now dating Russ, and another man named Eric. I am often asked to lie on the phone to these men. My mom tells my brother he isn't allowed to answer the phone because he is not a liar like me. Funny that later she would be shocked to find out I became a liar. As my mom's alcoholism gets worse, so do her boyfriends. She treats them like garbage and they put up with it, or they fight and scream. I remember running into her room after hearing a loud slap. It was hard to sleep peacefully with the yelling and the adult things that I would hear. I was learning more than I should at such a young age. My brother and I had a chubby phase at 12. My mom ridicules us. She can't believe she has chubby kids. I hide in my room with my cat, and I avoid being around her. After I'm skinny, for not eating, taking diet pills, being bulimic, and over-exercising, she's so proud and tells all her friends and buys me a new wardrobe. So skinny equals love. Got it. My mom didn't want kids at 23 years old. She would tell us we were accidents. She couldn't imagine having another child like my brother Joe. My brother Joe was a very colicky baby due to ear infections. Later, I would hear from my brother how much this affected his self-esteem. My brother went off to the Navy to have his college paid for and owe her nothing in return. I later found out that my brother wanted to stay away, but always found himself searching for her approval. She would often say, "You are an a-hole, just like your father," and that's odd since he was never around. I feel bad for what my brother had to endure. No affirmation for us ever. No I love you, no hugs, no rides, no attending sports, no cheering for anything that we did. No asking how your day was, no help with your homework. My father had remarried. He doesn't visit as much, and the time gets longer and longer between visits. He ends up having 3 more children with his new wife. Most kids had to sneak out of the house. We just left. Financially, we were taken care of, but emotionally, we got nothing. People probably thought we were lucky with no parents at home, who always went out of town on the weekend because we were always throwing parties. My mom ended up moving her and I to a condo at 4 Lakes Village, and my brother went off to the Navy. It was a super cool place to live. Tons of young single people, and I was 17 and ready to party. The fun crowd introduces me to cocaine. I did feel connected to my mother a little bit here because we would go to the pool together and often chat about her childhood and how bad it was, which made me feel a little bad for her and understand why she couldn't be a good parent. Remember, you don't have to become like your parents, you can break the cycle. I started college at 17 years old. My typing teacher said, "You should go to card printing school, you're a fast typer." I didn't make decisions for myself, so that sounded good to me. Well, in college, I met my friend Kristen, and she helped me get a fake ID. I ended up dropping out of college because drinking and doing cocaine became more important. I changed my goals to meet my behaviors. I ended up using and drinking until I was 34 years old. I'm now dating just like my mom did. I date many men. I date men who are older and can get me booze, and that have their own places. I get my first DUI when I turned 21. I am convinced that I do not deserve this DUI because I don't remember getting in my car. I blame my red car and bad timing. The policeman that I was drinking with should have stopped me and not let me drive. I get 3 more DUIs as my drinking progresses. I finally stopped driving when I am 27 years old. Well, at least I don't have a car payment or insurance payment. And again, I have changed my goals in life to meet my behaviors. I just want to drink and do drugs. As much as I swore I would never be like my mom, I became exactly like her. I was getting sloppy drunk, blacking out, and getting mean. The things I want in life now are a man with money and a baby. Yes, a baby will make everything better. Wow, if that's not delusional, I don't know what is. Okay, for me, I love you meant I choose you until you want to talk about my drinking, and then I need to trade you in. I don't value myself, and I'm still a people pleaser. I wake up with people I don't really remember. I don't know what has happened the night before, and I am too ashamed to ask. Also, I don't want to hurt their feelings. I believe my blackout drinking with the lack of a moral compass is the reason I was never killed or seriously hurt. I am sure many ladies in my shoes that were taken advantage of would have wanted justice, would have woke up saying, "You raped me." I don't remember anything from the night before, but my heavy drinking always led me to blackouts that I thought were always self-inflicted. I will never know everything that happened to me when I was blacked out. I think it's a gift from God that I don't have to play these horrible scenarios in my head. My mom notices that I am in trouble. I'm not working, my car payment is not getting paid. She convinces me to move home at age 27. My mom is very supportive and wants to help. Who is this person? I moved back home and mom has changed a lot. She had a cancer scare and is now saying, "I love you," which is very uncomfortable. She offers me her basement. I find a waitressing job, and now I'm driving without a license and I've gotten a 4th DUI. I come up with a plan to get my mom's help without her being mad at me. I lie and I tell my mom I'm suicidal over my 4th DUI and that I was gonna hang myself with a jump rope in the basement. So she doesn't yell at me. It never occurs to me what a horrible thing to say. My mom now has to worry about her suicidal daughter. I am elated that my plan has worked well. My mom gets me an attorney and helps me navigate through this mess. Mom gets sick of me living in her basement, bringing men into her house and drinking daily. She has me go see her EAP counselor, who gives me a list of the pros and cons of drinking. So I try controlled drinking. And then I added, haha. She helps me get an apartment so she can get me out of her house. I am living in my apartment and my boyfriend Brian stays over often. He goes to the bar, which we usually go to, and hears about my behavior at the bar earlier. He is furious and comes to my house and I'm passed out. But I'm awoken to him choking me. He gets arrested and it's not even 48 hours that we are back together. I make excuses for men who mistreat me because I know how bad I treated them. In my head, I think I may deserve it too. At age 32, I meet Mark, who helps me hit a rock bottom faster than anyone could. He teaches me the art of morning drinking. Mark drinks even more than I do. Perfect. He also has no license, and because we can share what losers we are with one another, we feel connected. We have no secrets. Unlike me, he has a great job and makes lots of money, which will help us drink and do drugs. My mom thought I was being blackmailed by this person. She couldn't understand why I would stay with him. She would say, "It's okay to tell us what happened. You can tell us what he has on you." The reality was, he had nothing, just a place for me to drink. Age 34, Mark and I try to get sober, and I go to my first AA meeting. It's like a cult. God this and God that. I used to work with a lady who went to AA, and she was crazy. Unfortunately, she was not a good example of AA. Age 35, Mark and I decide to go on a cruise. We come up with this great idea that we'll replace our bottled water with vodka before we get on the cruise. What a nightmare. He ends up kicked off the cruise in the Dominican Republic. I am all alone and drinking myself into oblivion every night. A religious man even comes to my cruise room to talk to me about God. Wow. He even saw that I was in big trouble and going on a downward spiral. I continued drinking all of 2005. The shakes, nervousness, panic attacks, and blackouts. I'm not eating. I only drink and do drugs. It's hard for me to work now. The shakes are worse and worse. My world has become so small. I am now in hiding with my drinking. Drinking is my life. I mess up and I go into work super drunk. They send me home. I don't remember much of it, but I know it's not good. So I call up the owner of the restaurant and I ask for one more chance, and he says, Erin, you can't go any higher than the owner. He gives me another chance, and I'm so excited after my promise, I go straight to the liquor store. I meant my promise, but alcohol is more important than everything now. My word means nothing compared to the cunning, baffling, and powerful disease of alcoholism. Days turn into weeks. I don't eat. I don't shower. I am alive, but I'm not living. Every day, just drinking into oblivion. I don't want to live, but I'm afraid to die. After a big argument with Mark, I go to my mom's house. I knock on my mom's door to detox once again, and she tells me it's treatment or forget it. I'm not allowed to detox at her house anymore. I think Joe has gotten to her. Dang it. January 2006, the intervention kind of occurs. I am skin and bones. I am told I look like a hanger with clothes on. Everyone loves me in treatment. I make everyone laugh, but I never got honest. Sober 9 months, and then I reconnect with my ex, Mark. In a drug-induced psychosis, he tries to kill me. Mark goes to jail, and I continue my bender at a motel. After spending a week in a motel drinking and doing drugs, I call my mom. My mom drives me to Wisconsin, where my brother meets her, and Joe brings me back to Minnesota with him and his family. Here is when I'm faced with a choice. Remember, a geographical cure doesn't work unless you change yourself. I have been given the gift of desperation. I know if I don't quit drinking, I'm gonna die. I know this, but I don't know what to do. Teen Challenge is the option, or homelessness, and cut off from the family. My mom has paid for my treatment. I assume she picked Minnesota Adult and Teen Challenge, so I won't be able to smoke too. I assume she is punishing me. I am not thinking clearly at all. The people there are outlining all these scriptures in my Bible. Oh my, what have I gotten myself into? They are praying for my burning bush that I want. At this point, I don't know what to pray for. I feel so alone and lost. We can only listen to Christian music there, and I still listen to it to this day. I love my Christian concerts. The lyrics give us hope. Steps 1 through 3 are, I can't, he can, so let him. I have nowhere else to go. I've given up. I can't do it on my own. This is my step 1. It's a Bible-based program. I'm taught that I can't be my higher power anymore, especially since my best thinking got me here. This is my step 2. Raising my hand to the Lord and singing with the choir. Am I ready to let him help me? This is my step 3. After Teen Challenge, I move in with Joe and we become close again. I have 6 weeks to better myself and get my own place. I get to live with my niece Abby and get to know her. I love playing house with my brother again. We understand one another. Joe takes me to my first meeting in January 6, 2007 in Minnesota. They tell me to keep coming back, read the big book, don't drink, and go to meetings. I later find out that people were saying, that girl will never make it. My brother Joe could talk the talk, but he couldn't walk the walk. I got a sponsor and I did the steps with her, but I rarely used her otherwise. Going to this big study meeting every Saturday. I hate the sayings in the beginning. Fake it till you make it, one day at a time, 1 second at a time, keep coming back. I'm a grateful alcoholic. What? Who would be grateful to be an alcoholic? They must be crazy. At one point, I tell my sponsor that I'm feeling great and I don't need a meeting this week. And she scolds me and says, Erin, the meetings are not just for you. What if someone needs to hear what you have to say? What if no one showed up for someone's first meeting? I remember that to this day. You can't keep it if you don't give it away. This is a we program. After 6 weeks, I find a room to rent and I get a job. I am ready to live now. But I have no life skills and I'm ashamed of it. How do I date? I have nothing to share from the past 15 years of my life. I need time. I need more life experiences. I should have been working on myself, but I was addicted to dating. Oh, how I was hoping to be a great girlfriend, but what did I really have to offer? Dating was terrible. I was faking all my feelings, I was nervous, and now I'm too nice, and men are leaving skid marks. I can't find chemistry without alcohol, and I just assume that's the way a sober relationship is. I make decisions about men based on how they look on paper. But hey, how can I not be amazed with the changes? I don't crave alcohol anymore. There has to be a God. I go before a board and finally get my license back, April of 2008. I haven't driven in over 10 years. My mom helps me buy a car until I start working again. I was working waitressing, but had to take a leave because I ended up needing a hip replacement due to my alcoholism. If you hear about a vascular necrosis of the hip, that's often caused by alcoholism. After I get my car, I go pick up Mark, the boyfriend that tried to kill me. I think I can save him. wow, my thinking is still delusional even though I've been sober for 16 months. Now I'm going to tons of meetings to save Mark. Our story will be amazing, the best comeback story ever. Now I have to lie to my entire family. Maybe if I have a baby with him, they will have to accept him. Mark keeps relapsing, and I know I'm gonna relapse if I don't end this. 2009 comes, and Mark tells me he doesn't want to stop drinking. This is the best thing that could have ever happened to me. Him not wanting to quit was the only thing that would keep me from trying to save him. I finally start working on myself. I become a personal trainer. I built up a training business. I am reliable and trustworthy. All these meetings were changing me, not Mark. At my home group, I often greet and I try to remember all the people's names and I hug them all. It feels uncomfortable, but I was getting better at it. I reach out to the newcomer. I give rides to those who don't drive. I stay after the meeting and chat with people. Lying is now feeling bad. My gut is my best friend. It never lies like I used to, but now I have not learned about my codependency and my inability to set healthy boundaries. I have gratitude. I have a sponsor who I'm using more. I sponsor others. I have many friends in AA. AA is no longer my higher power. I believe in God. I am a miracle. Every night I say, Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for another sober day. I have a decent relationship with my mother again and my father. I did make an amends to my mother for the fake suicide attempt. I told her I wanted to make amends to her and she said, oh, we're fine. And I had to say that the amends was for me and it was important that I do it. We are only responsible for the effort, not the outcome. Part of my amends to both my parents was to stay in touch. When we're missing for long periods of time, we don't think about how much it affects other people that are worried about us. 2013, I get my aha moment. I am 8 years sober and I buy a townhouse, and I am okay just being me. I have a great job, friends, and I like myself. I'm changed and I know it. And then I met Troy. October 2014, holy sober chemistry. Now I know what they mean when they say, you'll just know. Erin, go slow, don't scare them away. I love that Troy has 2 kids, Sierra 7 and Bryce 9. They were still upset about their parents' divorce, so I did tread lightly. I didn't hug them goodnight like their dad did. I wanted them to feel comfortable and not feel forced to hug me too. I love planning our annual trips to the Dells, trips to Florida and Mexico, lots of fun activities. I tell them some of my lesser stories of me being irresponsible. I often end the stories with, now kids, you don't ever have to be like Erin. I married my husband Troy in 2017. I added to my vows my promise to treat my stepkids as my own. We have a couple teenagers now and it's not easy. My mom ended up with dementia 5 months before my wedding. I didn't realize her illness was so bad. We lost her September 17th of 2018. I was able to visit her in Florida and thank her again for saving my life twice. I quit smoking and drinking a teen challenge. She was kind in the end. It was an honor to lay in her room and just want to be near my mom. I kissed her forehead and said goodbye when I left. This next part, there's no way I'd get through without crying, but I think it's important. In 2020, I lost my brother, Joe, to addiction. And this will be the hardest part of my story. My brother had been missing for 3 weeks. His addiction to crack cocaine started in college and haunted him the rest of his life. We sent the police to check for him. Every time he would say that he was fine and he wanted to be left alone. As an adult, there wasn't anything we could do, and Joe accidentally received fentanyl and he died. My sister-in-law found out the next morning, and I'll never forget the phone call. She just says, Joe's dead. And I get up and I run into the living room and I collapse on the floor and I say, no. My husband's there for me and I just keep saying, I don't have a brother anymore. Next I had to tell my brother's daughter, Abby, and I had to call up my father and I tried to break the news as easy as I could because there was no way I was going to say what my sister-in-law said to me, and I said, Dad, Joey died. And I heard a deep cry that I'll never forget. The kind of cry that only you would hear from a parent who just lost their son. Everyone still wanted to save my brother's reputation. We told people he had a heart attack. I still don't even know. Who knows the truth or the lie? Either way, my brother is at peace, and I will see him again. I didn't want to cry, but it's important for me to share that about my brother. He doesn't have to die in vain. It doesn't have to just be a statistic. One pill, that's all you need. So although I said I don't have a brother anymore, that is not true. I have 3 brothers, and I have many sisters-in-laws, and lots of nieces and nephews, because my father got me married and gave me 3 more brothers. I get to be a part of all of their lives, and I love it. I love being an auntie. No marriage is perfect and requires work from both of us. We have had our struggles. My husband is the calm one. I get a little anxious and worry too much. I finally realized that codependency was affecting my marriage. I was looking for a therapist in 2020, and I never heard back. But my sponsee, Rochelle, wanted to come to Eagle Park Church to Quest 180. She told me she's come here, and she loved it. I found the codependency group, and have felt so much better knowing I'm not alone. I didn't realize that I was working too hard trying to fix others. It's ironic because the best thing that happened to me was my enablers stopped helping me with my alcoholism. They let me hit a bottom. They saved me. Now I have to let others have their own lessons and journey too. When I was in treatment at Teen Challenge, we were asked to write down our goals. I found the list later and realized that I had shortchanged myself. My life is so much better than I could have ever imagined. I have a husband that I love. I have 2 jobs that I enjoy doing. I do yoga to help me with stretching, calming, and spirituality. I got baptized this year. I wanted to wash away the old Erin and welcome in the new Erin. The new Erin doesn't lie, cheat, and steal. This Erin pauses before she speaks, sometimes. I don't fight dirty, and I know how to say I'm sorry and mean it. I can show up for my shifts, I run my own business. I have a license, a car, insurance. I even have a good credit score. After all I've been through, I really feel like I'm on borrowed time. The rest of my life is a bonus. I love my AA and Quest family, and I'm going to end with the 12-step prayer, which is one of my favorites since you have to do all the steps in order to get to the 12th step. Dear God, my spiritual awakening continues to unfold. The help I have received, I shall pass on and give to others, both in and out of the fellowship. For this opportunity, I am grateful. I pray most humbly to continue walking day by day on the road of spiritual progress. I pray for the inner strength and wisdom to practice these principles of this way of life in all I do and say. I need you, my friends, and the program every hour of every day. I am a grateful alcoholic. This is a better way to live. Thank you. I'll pass.